Good afternoon, New York sports fans, and welcome to Varvaro Radio. I'm your host, Andy Varvaro, and you're listening to WDOT Port Washington on the dot. Come like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, leave your comments and leave your feedback for a chance to get on the show. So in light of recent off-season developments in Major League Baseball today, I'm happy to bring you a special hot stove edition of Varvaro Radio. Monday marked the start of the general manager meetings in Arizona, prelude to the winter meetings, which typically take place in December. And these GM meetings are generally a forum for general managers around baseball to open dialogue with each other and gauge interest in what teams may have interest in various players, to establish the trade market and the free agent market, see what they might look like in the months preceding the offseason. So naturally, it's rare for these GM meetings to culminate, let alone commence, with any major acquisitions or trades. But this year was different. Sandy Alderson and the New York Mets broke the ice this baseball offseason with a solid splash in the free agent market. The New York Mets signed outfielder and first baseman Michael Cuddyer to a 2-year, $21 million deal. Cuddyer, formerly of the Colorado Rockies, was extended a qualifying offer last week worth about $15.3 million over 1 year. And for those of you who do not know what this qualifying offer system is, it was just put in place last year, and it was meant to protect small market teams. By this, if a team's player hits free agency and the team extends the player a qualifying offer, and that player then leaves and goes to another team, the new team has to give the old team their highest draft pick, unless the new team is one of the 10 worst teams in baseball. They have one of the top 10 first-round picks. For instance, the Mets last year, they signed Curtis Granderson, who was extended a qualifying offer by the Yankees. The Mets were the 10th worst team in baseball. They had the 10th overall draft pick in the first round, so they forfeited to the Yankees their highest second-round pick. So it's been clear through Sandy Alderson's reign here as the Mets general manager that he values his young talent a lot. He values his draft pick. He values his young talent. He's hesitant to part ways with first-round picks and his top prospects, as much of his philosophy revolves around building for the future. Young, cheap, controllable players are ideal for Sandy Alderson building this team. Thus, when the Rockies extended Cuddyer a qualifying offer, it was widely speculated that the Mets' interest in him was minimal at best. But Sandy Alderson made a statement Monday night. He told Met fans that it's time to win. And Met fans, I'm here to tell you it's time to get excited. In an interview with SNY yesterday, Cuddyer told reporters, quote, "I am eager to win. I am excited to win. I am ready to win now." Moves like signing Cuddyer and statements from a player like the statement Cuddyer made, personally, gets me very, very excited. And then you couple that with Jacob deGrom being awarded the National League Rookie of the Year Monday night. For me, this is the start of newfound excitement in this team and the beginning of a new era in franchise history. This is the turning point. This is when people start to talk about the Mets again. And I know there are skeptics out there, especially with the Cuddyer signing. People say Cuddier's too old, he's not good enough, he played at Coors Field, he got a big boost from that, etc., etc. So I'm going to try to put some of these questions, some of these skeptics to rest right now. So first, let's look at Michael Cuddier's body of work in his career. Okay, though injuries were a problem last year, he played only 49 games. All indications point to this being the exception and not the rule. His injuries that kept him off the field last year were not chronic, rather freak injuries that happened because of specific plays. It's not as if the man has arthritis or something that's not curable. They're not chronic injuries. They were because of plays. They were things that will heal and get better. Prior to last season, he has played in the following amount of games: 130, 101, 140, 157, and 153. So for the most part, Mets fans can expect Michael Cuddyer to be on the field. That being said, let's look at what he's done when he's been on the field. He owns a career slash line of 279, 347, 466. He's a 347 on base and a 466 slugging for his career, adding up to a career OPS of 813. 813. He owns a career OPS plus of 114, meaning he's 14% better than the average offensive player in the big leagues for his career, which is excellent. So now, why don't we take a look at his last healthy year, 2013, a year in which, need I remind everyone, he won a batting title. He hit .331 with a .389 on base and a .530 slugging, with a runs created plus of 138. Runs created plus is a comparable stat to the OPS plus. He was about 38% better than the average offensive player in the big leagues in his last healthy year. Need I also remind everyone that Michael Cuddyer put up these numbers in his age 34 season. And many might respond to this, well, Coors Field helped him a lot. And normally I'd be inclined to agree. Coors Field does give players big advantage. But why don't we look at his home road splits? At home, Michael Cuddyer slashed .330, .391, .582, added up to a monstrous .997 OPS and a monstrous .173 OPS plus with 11 home runs. But then let's look at what he did away. He hit .311, .367 on base, .487 slugging, an .852 OPS, and a .141 OPS plus with 9 home runs on the road. So let's look at some of the stats again. He hit 11 home runs home, 9 away. He hit .330 home, .311 away. He was 73% better than the average offensive player at home, but still 41% better than the average offensive player away. So while Coors Field did provide Cuddyer some offensive help, they were, one, not particularly pronounced, especially when you compare it to a guy like Carlos Gonzalez, who the Mets were looking at. This is a guy, Carlos Gonzalez, if you look at his home run splits, he can't hit on the road. Cuddyer is still an excellent offensive player on the road. So even if we get the away Michael Cuddyer, even if we don't get the Coors Field Michael Cuddyer, I need to remind everyone, we're probably going to get somewhere in the middle. Even the away Michael Cuddyer is an excellent, elite offensive player. Also, it is important for everybody to remember, let's look at where Michael Cuddyer is playing when he's on the road. He's in that NL West. So, when he's playing on the road, he's often playing in the pitcher-friendly parks that plague the National League West, which include Petco Park, AT&T Park, Dodger Stadium, and Chase Field. These are all pitcher ballparks. He has to play at Petco Park. These are all pitcher-friendly ballparks, and he was monstrous on the road. Seeing as Citi Field is considered a pitcher-friendly park, this is a very encouraging sign that Cuddyer will be able to adapt to his new environment. This is an excellent sign, especially moving in the fences again. There is no reason we can expect Michael Cuddyer to be a dud out there because Coors Field helped him. That's not the answer. He was excellent on the road in pitcher-friendly parks. The one drawback that can be argued about Cuddyer is his defense. Both UZR and defensive WAR peg Cuddyer as a subpar defender in the outfield. But it's important to remember that these defensive metrics are still developing. They're not perfect, and they're much more suspect than the offensive metrics in baseball. So I take them with a grain of salt. Although, yes, he's probably a subpar defender. And it's also important to remember that while he will be playing a bulk of his time in the outfield, he's probably going to be seeing a good amount of time at first base when lefties are pitching, due to a break. So undeniably, signing Michael Cuddyer is precisely what the New York Mets needed to do. He is a professional hitter, an excellent right-handed bat, a versatile player, a stabilizing force in the outfield, a great clubhouse guy, and if nothing else, Michael Cuddyer is a statement to Mets fans everywhere that this is the year. I've been highly critical of the Wilpons on this show. I said that they need to open up the checkbook and put a good product on the field if they expect me or any other fan to come to games. And while this isn't the biggest signing in the world, it's an excellent step toward contention. I can only think of a handful of times I've ever felt real excitement and electricity at Citi Field. The R.A. Dickey starts, the year he won his Cy Young. the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game. I was at the Home Run Derby, which Michael Kadire took part in, and of course Harvey Day. Every time Harvey starts, you can feel the electricity in the air at Citi Field. And now more than ever, I'm beginning to feel real excitement for this team. And that's what Kadire said. Kadire said one of the reasons he wanted to come here was because he wanted to win now, and he felt that excitement if he were to come. He can feel the excitement of Mets fans because he was there during the Home Run Derby. When Mets fans were more excited at Citi Field than ever before, he felt that, and he wanted to replicate that feeling. And I think that's what he did by coming here. 2015 has always been the year that Met fans have looked forward to since Sandy Alderson took the team over. It's always been wait till next year, wait till next year, wait till 2015. 2015 we're going to contend, but now it's time. There is no more wait till next year. This is the year to turn things around and get the New York Mets back into the playoffs. And in doing so, this can be an important year in making New York a Mets town again. And yeah, I said it. That's right, I said it. With the Yankees clearly on the decline, the Mets have a chance to capitalize and win back young fans with a strong performance this year. The Mets and the Yankees are heading in different directions. The Mets are clearly on the upswing, and the Yankees are going down. They're spending a lot of money on old players. They don't have young talent. They don't have a good farm system. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Yankees finish below 500 this year. So if the Mets can capitalize and put together a nice, strong season, create buzz around this team, it can really be a Mets town again in the near future. It really can be. And when you break down the Mets team, there is no reason they can't be a playoff team this year. No reason. Unquestionably, they're the second best team in the NL East. And you gotta remind everyone that they were last year. They finished in second place last year. Second place. The Mets were the only National League team with a positive run differential to not make the playoffs last year. The only team. And that run differential, we're only going to be better. Because now you throw in Michael Kadire. Now you throw in the Dark Knight of Gotham, Matt Harvey. And then you think, with Kevin Long coming in, Curtis Granderson can't be any worse than he was last year. You bring in Kevin Long, you move in the fences in right field. David Wright can't be any worse than he was last year. He had a down year. He was hurt. There's no reason he's going to be that poor again. I'll say poor. Wilmer Flores and d'Arnaud both showed their offensive potential second half of last year. This is a team that can make the playoffs. Frankly, in all honesty, do you know what team the New York Mets remind me of this year? Get ready to fall off your seats, but the San Francisco Giants. Seriously, though, think about it. They may not have too many, if any, absolute standout all-stars, but what they do have is a team of above-average players, and that has been the key to success. As we've seen with the Red Sox winning the World Series and the Giants winning the World Series the last couple of years. These are teams not with one standout player and a bunch of pretty bad players, but a balanced team. Strong pitching, and a balanced team of solid, above-average players at every position. That's what the Giants were this year. And let me just read off some of the New York Mets. All right, Lucas Duda, breakout season last year. 253, 349, 481 slugging. He had an 830 OPS and a 137 OPS plus. 137. He hit 30 bombs. This guy is really establishing himself as one of the elite power hitters in the game. And he really is. That's what the numbers say. I'm just going to read down the list of OPS pluses of Mets who were on the team last year, and as of right now will be next year, excuse me. d'Arnaud, 105 OPS plus. Remember, 100 is league average. So if you hear 100 or above, that means they're a solid player. d'Arnaud, 105 OPS plus. Duda, 137 OPS plus. Murphy, 111 OPS plus. David Wright, despite his struggles, 101 OPS plus. Juan Lagares, 102 OPS plus. Curtis Granderson, despite his struggles, 105 OPS plus. Wilmer Flores, 90 OPS plus, but I'm going to get into that. Neuenhuis, 136 OPS plus. Dilson Herrera, we might not see next year, still 103 OPS plus. This is a team at every single position has a league average or better offensive player. So there's no reason whatsoever this team cannot be good. Washington is going to be excellent. I think they could, they're probably going to win the NL East next year. Although, again, I really, really wouldn't count the Mets out of contention. But then you look at the Braves. The Braves are on the decline. They showed that last year. They're not a good team. They swing and miss too much. They strike out too much. They're not scoring enough runs. They don't have an elite pitching staff. And on top of that, they're selling. They might get rid of Hayward. They might get rid of Upton. They might get rid of Gaddis. They're having a fire sale. Philadelphia stinks. We know that. They're getting rid of everybody. They're getting rid of Hamels. They're getting rid of anyone they have left. They're clearly on the down. That's no question. They finished in the cellar of the NL East this year. The Marlins are the only other team who are solid. But I think, no question, we're better than the Marlins are. No question. And again, there is no reason. We have a solid team. This is a very, very comparable team to this San Francisco Giants team that just won the World Series. I broke that team down 3 weeks ago, I guess now, before Game 7, and before the start of the series. And their OPS plus, their offensive production was very similar to this New York Mets team. And again, 2 big question marks. I'd say Travis d'Arnaud struggled in the early going of the season. They sent him down to AAA, and he came back, and he raked. Just to put it into perspective, the last 28 days of the season, the last month, Travis d'Arnaud hit 300 with a 364 on base, a 533 slugging, and 897 OPS. The second half of the season, which includes some of his struggles, he hit 265 with a 313 on base and a 474 slugging. 474 slugging. Especially out of a catcher, I'll take that any day of the week. That is a good power hitter in this league. Out of anyone, I'd take that. Especially out of a catcher. That's a catcher who can hit, and there's no reason he's not going to do that next year. That's ceased to be a small sample size after he kept up the pace for 4 months. And we look at Wilmer Flores. Again, struggled mightily. But in the last month, when he really started to get consistent at-bats, let's see what he did. In the month of September, 267, a 302 on base, and a 489 slugging, a 791 OPS out of a shortstop. Pretty small sample size, and it only being 1 month. But this is what gives hope to Mets fans. Wilmer Flores is a young guy, and it looked like he started figuring it out. So even if the Mets don't deal for a shortstop, he could still be a nice player there. And I haven't even talked about the strength of the Mets, and that's the pitching staff. So I've only spoken about the offensive piece. And we see that at literally every single position, there is a league average or better offensive player at every single position. And that's what you need to win. Frankly, this is a better team than the Kansas City Royals, who were just in the World Series. Statistically, on paper, it's a better team. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Royals didn't even make the playoffs this year. They're going to have a lot of competition at AL Central. That's beside the point. Point is, if the Royals can do it, I don't see why the Mets can't. It's really feasible. It's not crazy talk. Look at the numbers. Look at the players. Look at what they've done, and look at what they can do. Again, I haven't even talked about the pitching staff. And my mouth just waters when you talk about the pitching staff. Jacob deGrom just won Rookie of the Year, had an unbelievable year, really came out of nowhere. I snagged his autograph in spring training. I have his autograph on a hat. I'm keeping that. I might frame that. deGrom was unbelievable. Matt Harvey didn't even win Rookie of the Year. He got hurt. Well, he got hurt. He came up the year before, actually, that last year. So we didn't have a big enough sample size to really be considered seriously for Rookie of the Year. Point is, Jacob deGrom won Rookie of the Year. He was unbelievable. Since the day he came up and pitched against the Yankees, he was unbelievable. So you have deGrom and Harvey anchoring the top. That's the Dark Knight of Gotham. And people say, we can't expect much of him. We can't set too high standards because he's coming off of Tommy John surgery. I understand that. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Harvey got out there and dominated from day one. Because that's in his DNA. Yeah, he has some attitude. He likes the attention. We know that. He was at He was at Derek Jeter's last game, which I know Chris Russo on his MLB Network show is not happy about. The Mets are playing! The Mets are playing! And he tells me, him and Derek Jeter are good friends. Give me a break! Oh, please, the Mets are playing! And he has a point. But guess what? Matt Harvey can throw the ball. He can throw the ball. And then you have Wheeler, who again made strides this season. Solid pitcher. I think he's only going to get better. I mean, we know Wheeler. We know DeGrom, Harvey, and Wheeler. That is a nice 1, 2, 3. And then from there, it gets a little... no matter who we put there, it's going to be good. But I just don't know who's going to be there to round out the top, to round out the 5. Because you have Need, G, and Cologne all on contract for next year, and for some of them more than that. But it's no secret that the Mets are looking to move at least one of those guys. At least one of those guys. And then beyond that, you have Syndergaard. You have Montero. You have more young arms coming up, behind these guys. Matz. There's plenty there. That's an elite pitching staff. An elite pitching staff. But that kind of brings me to my next point, which is, what are the Mets going to do next? After all the hype about Kadire came out that the Mets were in hot pursuit of Troy Tulowitzki. But again, I don't see that happening. I don't think they should do it. I don't think that's a good move. Because in order to land Tulo, you're going to need to give up Syndergaard. You're going to need to give up several top prospects and eat a lot of money. And the problem with that is a couple things. One, you look at the home road splits. Now, Tulo on the road is still very good. He's good. Especially for shortstop, he's very good. But it's nowhere near the monstrous numbers he puts up at Coors Field. That's number one. Number two, of course, the biggest problem is the injuries. I mean, this guy can't stay on the field. He cannot stay on the field. And he's only getting older. So there's no reason that we can expect him to play more in the years going forward. Now, again, it's argued that the wins he contributes when he plays, his WAR is so high, he's so good when he plays that it almost outweighs his getting hurt because he contributes so much when he is on the field. So even if you have Tulo for a couple months, he doesn't contribute a 5 WAR, and then you put in a replacement level, Wilmer Flores, say, or someone, and it's still well and fine. Now, I have a serious problem with that because if you're the New York Mets, you want to be playing October baseball. And if you have a shortstop who's supposed to be, a cornerstone of the team, one of the most important members of the team, and he's hurt in October, well, then he doesn't really do me any good, does he? And you're giving up all that young, great, controllable pitching for it, and eating a lot of money. It's just not worth it. That being said, I don't think Sandy Alderson is going to get Tulowitzki. I don't think he loves the idea of getting Tulowitzki for the price that he's going to need to pay. But that being said, I don't think he's done in this offseason. The offseason's only just begun. The winter meetings are still to happen, and the Mets have a wealth of young pitching waiting to be dealt. Not to mention the veteran pitching in Cologne, Nice, and G. Someone's going to be dealt. He's waiting for the right move. It's going to be interesting to see what he thinks that right move will be. I know he kicked the tires in on Jimmy Rollins. I think that's a horrible idea. Jimmy Rollins said he wouldn't come to the Mets. I don't think Sandy's going to trade for him. If Jimmy Rollins, can Mets fans imagine Jimmy Rollins playing shortstop for the Mets? He's going to get booed off the field on opening day. Jimmy Rollins, he's not even good. He's overrated. He is overrated. He has a career OPS plus of 98, 97. For his career, he's a below-average offensive player. And Mets fans hate him. So I don't think that's going to happen. Alexi Ramirez, that could happen, although is he that much of an improvement over Wilmer Flores? I don't know. So I don't know how much I'm prepared to give up for him if I'm Sandy Alderson. Same thing with a guy like Elvis Andrews. He's a good shortstop, but who knows? Wilmer Flores' defensive metrics actually pegged him as an average shortstop. So he didn't cost the Mets any runs there. So with an average shortstop and a potential, as we saw in the last month, to be a productive hitter, I don't know how much I'm willing to give up in order to get an Elvis Andrus who's also a league average hitter, or an Alexi Ramirez who's also a league average hitter. Either way, Mets fans, it's time to get excited. The window of contention is now. It's time to win. And I think it's abundantly clear that it is not outside the realm of possibility that the Mets are a playoff team this year. Looks like we're running out of time, so I'm going to start wrapping up. First with a quick PSA. Since 1944, Smokey Bear has been the symbol of the protection of America's forests. More than 60 years later, he is still wearing blue jeans and a trademark line that has received an update. It's now only you can prevent wildfires, and for good reason. The destruction of land by fire has expanded beyond just the forest. Wildfire refers to any uncontrolled outdoor fire. The year 2000 marked one of the greatest acreage losses to wildfire since 1957. 8 million acres burned that year, about the size of New Hampshire. And of that, more than 3 million acres were lost due to fires caused by humans. This has been a public service announcement from the Ad Council. And a quick promo. I know that winter tryouts are coming up. If you're interested, nothing to do, you want to get out, get active, go try out for the basketball team, go try out for your sports teams. It's a good way to stay in shape. So again, I'm Andy Varvaro, and you are listening to Varvaro Radio on WD Port Washington. You are on the dot. Come like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and feel free to comment or post or tweet at us any questions or topics you would like answered or discussed on the show. There's a very good chance you end up being featured on one of the weekly shows here at Varvaro Radio. So spread the word. Tell your friends. It looks to be a very fun, exciting year. Hopefully with some great special guests and call-ins. A lot of analysis, a lot of sports talk. Hot Stove is always fun, so like us, tweet at us, do anything you can. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening, everyone, and see you next time here on Varvaro Radio.